I am now at Small Mountain, also known as Núi Nhỏ here in Vũng Tàu. Vũng Tàu is actually my hometown. I've been living in Saigon for about 3 months now, and I just finished, well, some of my exams. So I decided to come here and visit my family and also my hometown because I actually really like it here, even though sometimes I get bored of it because I've been living here for quite a long time, for 18 years. This video will be mostly unscripted. Of course, there will be some cuts because, well, people don't want to see me being silent for minutes on end. Now, as for why I'm speaking English, I don't know. I just feel like I can express myself more in English and not in Vietnamese. Even though I'm like 100% Vietnamese, and even though I don't hate Vietnamese, do not get the wrong idea. I love Vietnamese, okay? But I still feel like I have more vocabulary in English so I can express myself more articulately. Articulately? Yeah. A lot of my friends, well, one of my friends actually told me a very nice compliment, but it was also very unique. As in, he told me that I give off this specific English vibe, this sort of atmosphere that people want to speak English to. Now, at first I thought it was kind of out of the ordinary. Well, it was out of the ordinary because for the longest time I've heard people say like, oh, your English is so good. The way you pronounce is very unique and all that. And I appreciate it, but his specific compliment, like I've never thought about that. Recently, a lot of people just wanted to speak English to me, not because they want to show off or anything, but because they just want to speak English to me. But I digress. What I want to do in this video is to talk about what I've done throughout 2022. Because, well, you know, today is 26th of December 2022, almost the end of the year. 2022 was a pretty eventful year. A lot of things happened. Some ups and downs, but of course, more ups, I guess. My biggest accomplishment would still be me getting an IELTS Band 8. For foreigners, that would sound pretty standard because, of course, they've been learning English for their whole lives. So, of course, they would get a higher band score than me. I still feel that it's one of my biggest accomplishments this year because that's like the first time I'm able to actually like prove that I'm actually good at something. You know, a lot of people know that I'm good at English, but there's still something, I still have nothing to show off that I am actually good and you need to believe me. So having that is quite reassuring to some extent. I recently passed my driving exam, which even though a lot of people pass the exam, like you have a higher chance of passing it than actually failing the test. But it's also one of my biggest accomplishments this year because I don't know if I have a disease where I shake a lot, but that's kind of my habit. I shake and I tremble when I'm fearing something. So actually passing the test was quite big for me. What else? Well, university. I'm studying in University of Economics, Ho Chi Minh City, which is not here. But I really like the school here. I really like the school because being able to step inside a pretty prestigious university is kind of, yeah, comforting because I was stuck in high school, not really stuck, but my high school wasn't a top high school, so it felt I was held back by something. So all in all, being able to be admitted to this university was actually comforting. So my class monitor or class president, one of his questions for everyone in class was, what's the difference between you in January and you in December, which is right now? I didn't give it a second thought, because like that question at first it sounds very standard, like nothing too special, but when I think about it more and more, yeah, I think I've changed a lot, even though it's only like a year. Let's talk about my perspective a bit. My perspective has changed. At the end of junior high, I felt like I was still good at English, even though I was, but I thought that I was like on top of the world. But then I didn't get admitted to Le Widom High School, which is a specialized school, trường chuyên basically. And not being admitted to that school really changed me as a person, because it left a lesson to me that I am not on top of the world. The world doesn't revolve around myself. I'm just a speck in this universe. So throughout high school, I started shifting my perspective from being kind of arrogant to being modest. Back then, I judged a lot of people's voices in English, and sometimes I don't like a lot of voices, and you might think that's a bad thing, because it is a bad thing. It's not good to be arrogant all the time, of course. But now at the end of high school and at the start of university, I felt that, yeah, there's so many more voices that I love. I used to think that if people had a different English voice, then they would be worse than me. But now it's different. Whenever I hear a different voice, I think that it's different from me, not worse than me, you know? So I started liking a lot of people's accents. And I was stunned to hear everyone's accent. Like, it was so amazing, even though some people's accents are kind of hard to hear. But all in all, I still love everyone. And that's why I love my class so much, I guess. A lot of seniors say that, oh, university is so different from high school, so be prepared. When I first heard that, I was pretty scared, like a lot of people. It's actually different in a good way. It makes you transition from this person to another person. You can't use the same tactics and strategies in high school for university. Like the school curriculum is actually very heavy in terms of workload. Not as heavy as medicine, but of course it's still heavy compared to high school. So we have to change the way we think and change the way we study in order to actually survive in this kind of environment, because being in this top university has its ups and downs. Its ups is that you meet a lot of people the same age as you and think the same as you, because you're basically peers. You have a lot of things in common and don't have many differences. But because of that, there's also the downs, because you can feel peer pressure. I see a lot of that. Yeah, I don't give in to peer pressure a lot, because I just focus on myself. And when I make a mistake or when I fail, I just learn my lesson and move on, and don't dwell on that failure too much. It's getting hot here. Not as hot in Saigon, but still hot. Throughout summer of this year, I started reading books. This might sound cliche to say, but books are really good. Like, you can actually learn a lot from it. And I noticed that I knew nothing about this life. and that reading books really opened up my mind to more topics and more lessons. Sometimes I set goals for myself, like getting a scholarship, but then I got a scholarship, so I'm not aiming for that goal anymore. I read this book once. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a very popular book. It told that setting goals is not always the best way to go about life. It's about the system. It's about changing the system and who you are, your identity, and not about setting goals as much, because when you accomplish a goal, you feel empty, because for the longest time you've been following this step-by-step guide in order to achieve that specific aim. But now that you've accomplished that aim of yours, you feel like your life is meaningless. So you should work on bettering yourself, improving your identity, and actually, improving, not setting a specific goal to work towards. So all in all, 2022 was pretty eventful and also very meaningful. So basically, I love my class, I love my university, because I've been working my whole high school in order to step inside a prestigious school. So yeah, I love my university. And I love myself more because I have accomplished a lot of things. And I also believe in myself more. Even though I think my identity hasn't really changed a whole lot, but I still felt like I improved a lot. I'm more organized. I love books more. I made a lot of friends. I'm more open-minded. Yeah, that's basically it. See ya. Peace.